Hi, I'm Chrissy and this is a tiny bookcase. Welcome. So it's been a while since I have posted any videos, and that's just because it's been a hectic beginning of this month. July is usually a hectic month for me because I have several birthdays that fall within this month, and they're for people that are very dear to me. So yeah, I haven't had a whole time to read, but I just wanted to post my TBR for the Jane Austen July readathon. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get into the books. So right now I have started with Lady Susan. I think I'm on letter 19 or 20, and Lady Susan is a epistolary book. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And that means that this book is written in letters to the characters in the book. So, like I said, right now I think I'm on 19 or 20. I can't remember how many letters there are in this novel. So, I think I'm quite underway what is going on. Lady Susan, obviously, if you have read this story, you know what kind of character Lady Susan can be, and she is a character. That said, I'm really enjoying this. I actually have it on two forms. I have it on novel on my e-reader, and I also have it on audio. And so I enjoy going back and forth between the two different forms of reading, which I read the novel straight from my e-reader, and I also listen to it on audio, and I try to make sure that I'm about in the same area all the time of the book. So I usually will stop at the end of a chapter. This way I can catch the other one up to the same point and not get confused with the story. So that just works for me because sometimes I can listen to a book better at one point in time, or I can just read it, and sometimes I need to read it because I don't quite understand the narrator their accent, what they're saying. So it's just easier to go back and refer to the book and look at what they're actually saying. And on my e-reader, there's actually a dictionary or a reference tool. So sometimes if there's like a word I don't understand, because this is written a long time ago, and also it is English from Britain, and not what I'm used to, so some of the words are a little different. So I like to refer back to that tool, and I really enjoy that. And I have that on my Libby app, which is an app through my public library here in Texas, San Antonio. The public library here offers this service, and it's free through the library, and so I really enjoy using that when I don't have the physical book. So right now, all the books that I'm currently reading are on my e-reader, except for one, which I'm very happy to say I actually got to purchase a copy of one of my favorite Jane Austen's novels, and that is Persuasion. So Persuasion is going to be a read-along in this readathon, and I think it's going to be towards the end of the month. I have to really look up the details to see exactly when they're going to start this read along. But I think the first book they were starting with was Manchville Park, and unfortunately I never got a copy of Manchville Park. So I do have a collection of all of Jane Austen's works, but it's a pretty book, and it's kind of hard to read it out so quickly. And I bought the books actually because I just love the way it looked, but it's not as easy to just grab all the time and just read through. So I really like to have a smaller, more readable book when I'm reading. So I haven't I'm not reading Manchville Park right now. I don't know if I will consider doing that before the readathon is over, but at the moment I'm not reading Mansfield Park. So what I am reading is reading Lady Susan, as I already spoke about, and also I'm reading a historical fiction. It's called The Other Bennet Sister, And this story revolves around Mary. So Mary Bennet really doesn't get a lot of notice in Pride and Prejudice. She's just the bookish sister and she's really plain. But in this story, we learn more about Mary and there is some romance for Mary. And I'm really interested in this book. I did like the character of Mary. I kind of feel sorry for her a lot of times, how she's treated in the book. So I am quite interested in this book. I haven't really gotten too far along in this book though at the time right now during this time that I'm filming. I think I'm really just on the first couple of pages. So I really don't know too much about it as just as much as I'm telling you. That's as much as I know about this book, but I do like the way it's going, and because I do like her character, I'm excited to finish this book. So the next book I want to talk about is The Jane Austen Project. This book is historical fiction, and it's about two researchers who are sent back in time to meet Jane Austen and to recover a unpublished manuscript or novel that she's working on. Um, Liam and Rachel are sent back in time to meet Jane Austen's brother and perhaps find a way in meeting Jane Austen. Rachel is a disaster relief doctor who has been a huge fan of Jane Austen's work and got herself onto this project. And Liam is an actor turned scholar. So these two pair up and, acting as brother and sister, go back in time to the Jane Austen's time period, and they're trying to recover this unpublished novel that Jane Austen's working on. So far, I really am enjoying this book. So I'm really liking this book. I find it very intriguing, the storyline, and I'm wondering what is going to occur. Right now, Rachel and her partner Liam have been able to uh, garner a visit to Jane Austen's brother's home, and maybe will be eventually able to meet Jane Austen. So it's very interesting hearing how these characters are relating to this time period. They've trained for this mission, so they knew a lot about what was going to be going on and what they would have to do to blend in. But they are finding it quite difficult now that they're actually there. And they're trying their best not to mess with the timeline because they are time travelers and anything they do could possibly affect the future. So, and we do hear how that has happened on previous missions, because apparently this has taken place already on there's been other missions. For whatever reason, I don't think they really mention it, or I'm just not recollecting at the moment. But there have been missions, and there have been some there's been some slight changes through to history because of it that they have noticed. So they're being very careful to do their best not to affect too much, so that there won't be too many repercussions in the future. But it's very interesting, and I really enjoy reading this book, and hopefully we'll finish this book by the end of July, so that I can finish my TBR. But now the next book I want to talk about is Pride. I believe the title of the book is Pride, and it's a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. So this book by Ibi Zoboi is it's a modern remix of Pride and Prejudice. It is called Pride and is set in Brunswick, New York. And our character Zuri Benitez, who is Afro-Latino. I'm really excited that Ms. Zoboi set it the way she did, and using the character of Zuri and her sisters. And she lives next to a rundown mansion it's purchased by a family from Manhattan, And this new family moves in, and one of the sons, Darcy. So right off the bat, you're getting Darcy. Zuri's not really too into too much. So I've only read like maybe the first two chapters. I'm not sure. Possibly could be on the third, but it's been a while. Like I said, I haven't read a lot this month. I started to read and then I had to stop because there were things beyond my control and I didn't get a chance to continue. So I'm gonna start picking up the pace now and hopefully get through all my TBR by the end of this month because I'm really excited for the Jane Austen July Read-A-thon. This is the first time I'm participating, so I'm really excited about this. I had never heard about this Read-A-thon, and I think the books that I have chosen are really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to reading Persuasion with the read-along. And speaking of which, I purchased my physical copy of Persuasion, which is one of my very favorite Jane Austen novels. Recently, my daughter and I made a trip to Barnes & Noble's, and it had been quite some time since I've been inside Barnes & Noble's because of COVID. We hadn't been out a lot, and due to distancing, and now that we have been fully vaccinated, we have kind of gone out a little bit more. And so this was our very first time back in Barnes & Noble's, and I was so excited to be there inside the bookshop, and I was able to get this copy of Persuasion, and without further ado, let me show you my new copy. So this is my new copy of Persuasion. This is a Barnes & Noble's exclusive, and so I really love this cover. It's a beautiful pink, and the detail is embossed, and it is like a flexi bound cover. I think that's what they call it. So there is a quote on the back of the book. One man's ways may be as good as another's, but we all like our own best. Jane Austen, Persuasion. So I really enjoyed this copy. The font is a little tiny, but I think I can manage with it. I'll probably have to use my glasses. I hate using my glasses because they slip. And I guess I just need them adjusted, but I haven't done that. So this is the title page, and I like the design on this page. And I don't think there is any illustrations in this book. This was published in 2019. So it's a 2019 edition printed for Barnes & Noble's booksellers, incorporated by Sterling Publishing Company, Incorporated. So there's that. And no, it doesn't look like there is any illustrations in this book, but I still really love this book. This is the end pages and the inside of the book. Kind of classic for Barnes & Noble's books. I will show you another book. I have a collection of Jane Austen's novels, which I also purchased at Barnes & Noble several years ago. And you can see for yourself that that kind of is typical of Barnes & Noble's books. Right. So this is the book I'm referring to. I got this at Barnes & Noble's several years ago. I want to say possibly could be maybe 15 years ago. And it was a whopping $19.99. I still have the sticker price on here. It says bargain price. But as you can tell, like I said, there you go. There's the end pages. So it's similar to the Persuasion book. And then this one actually does have illustrations though, and like I said, it has all the novels, and there are illustrations in this book. I have featured this book in another video, so I will link that video somewhere up here if you want to check it out. And it just shows my other Jane Austen books that I have acquired in the past. And unfortunately, this book was a new book that I just purchased, so it's not going to be included in that video. But there are other books in that video. If you have not seen it, you might want to check it out. So, like I said, this book does include Persuasion, but as you can tell, it's pretty hefty. So, really have to be at like a desk or a table reading this, and so it's not always comfortable. But I wanted to purchase this book because I just like, why not? I mean, let's look at it. If you're a Jane Austen fan, why wouldn't you want this book? So, yeah. But like I said, it's convenient to read. So, hopefully I can get myself a copy of Mansfield Park, but if not, then I won't be reading it for this readathon. But this readathon is held every year, so I can read it next year. And like I said, Persuasion is one of my favorite Jane Austen novels, but so is Mansfield Park. My favorite heroines are Anne Elliot, and of course Fanny Price, and also Eleanor Dashwood. And speaking of Eleanor Dashwood, there is challenges, and so you can watch some adaptations of their Jane Austen's novels. And I recently did watch I can't remember what year this adaptation came out. I think it was 2007, but I'm not sure. And so that is the adaptation I watched recently. And also right around that same time, I watched Clueless, which is a retelling of Emma. And I watched that with my 13-year-old daughter at the time. She hadn't turned 14. Just a couple of days ago, she turned 14. But it was quite interesting because I have not seen this video for... That's my daughter. She really liked Clueless.
Paul Rudd.
Oh my goodness. So I have not watched this video in almost 20 years. It was interesting to watch it again. I really did enjoy watching this video again and watching it with my daughter because she had her own likes and dislikes for this video. She really liked Ty, and if you've seen the movie, then you know these characters. I have to say she wasn't a big fan of Cher, and I kind of understand that because Emma is not my favorite Jane Austen character. I never really kind of root for her. Like I said, I am drawn more to Anne Elliot and to Fanny Price and to Eleanor Dashwood. So you can kind of see the kind of Jane Austen heroine that I really find I support and I enjoy reading about. And Emma, well, not so much, but I will say that over the years, I remember I was a big fan of Ty. And this time around, I have to say, I kind of was gravitating more towards Cher, even though, you know, there were some times she could get a bit much. But for the most part, I really enjoyed watching this movie again. So if you haven't seen it in a while or have not seen it, totally recommend to check it out. I think we saw it on HBO Max. Yes, my daughter's saying yes, that's what we saw it on HBO Max. So if you have a subscription to HBO Max, I mean, it's there. I don't know for how much longer because they tend to change the lineup around, and so sometimes movies come and go. But we just saw it a couple of days ago, possibly maybe about 4 or 5 days ago. And so it was there. So if depending on when this video goes up, check it out if you really haven't seen it and are curious, or you've seen it and you want to see it again. But I guess that's all I was going to talk about in this video. I hope I included all the books I'm planning to read. There was 2 others, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get to them, so I didn't want to mention them, and possibly will mention in another video for recent reads. But before I end this video, I would like to say that, are there any Loki fans out there? because tonight my daughter and I and my husband watched the last installment of Loki, the series on Disney Plus, and you can see how my daughter enjoyed this. I will have to say I enjoyed this Marvel serial the most since all of the ones have come out, and I've liked them all, but Loki's been my favorite. I am very disappointed with this last episode. So, I don't know if any of you out there are Loki fans or have watched this series on Disney Plus. But if you are, I would love to hear your comments on what you thought of this series and how you felt about this last episode. Do not get me started. It was not my favorite episode, and I have to say, one of my favorite episodes are with the ones with the Lokis. I don't remember what it's called, but
episode 5.
So, yes, that's my favorite episode, and yeah. So, if you're a fan, I would love to hear your comments down below. Just curious what you thought, and if you enjoyed this last episode. Apparently, there will be a season 2, so. We'll have to wait and see how that goes.
And let's hope in season 2, Mobius gets his jet ski.
My daughter. So she's a little disappointed that she didn't get to see Mobius get his jet ski. And if you have been watching this series, you know what she's talking about. So I thank you for joining me for this hopefully not too lengthy video. But if you have stuck around this long, I do appreciate it. And I hope that you will consider possibly subscribing to my channel or returning for another video and my daughter again and more content such as this. But until next time, take care. God bless. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.